And that's called a VLAN. So a switch, you're able to actually set up virtual LANs, a virtual network. And who cares? What's so great about that? Well, before we had actual VLAN capability, the network segments were set up based on where they were physically located. So all of the systems that were physically, they're on the first floor and they're over in this side of the building, then that's one segment. But not necessarily, those different systems may need access to different resources. What happens in a VLAN is you can actually connect, you have a virtual LAN, you could think of it as a container, and a system on the first floor, a system on the second floor, a system in another building can all be put in this container, and then you can assign resources. Maybe these need to communicate to the HR database. Maybe it needs to communicate to a specific WAN link. So where we were physically had constraints of setting up our network, now VLANs allow us to logically segment our VLAN based on what those systems actually need access to. Now, another benefit of a VLAN is that you can apply different security policies to it. So VLAN 1 can have a security policy which indicates what resources the devices in that VLAN can access. It will what operations it can carry out. And then VLAN 2 can have a totally different security policy where those devices can access another set of resources and they can carry out other operations. So it allows us to not only virtually be able to create our network segments, we can then actually control the security on them based on the needs of what they need to access, what they should not be accessing, and what type of permissions and access control we want to allow them. So again, it's switches, and some routers provide VLAN, but in the exam, we kind of learn it face on exactly. We'll talk about firewalls. There's different types of firewalls, even though in the industry, the firewall vendors mix those different technologies up. Even within switches and routers and what we're talking about, different products will combine them. But for the exam, you need to know that really the basic definition of the functionality that these devices provide. So the switch will provide a VLAN, and basically a switch is like a multi-port bridge or a hub, and so it has these different ports, and each port a lot of times is its own VLAN. So VLAN 1 is connected to port 1, VLAN 2 is connected to port 2. So when a system needs to communicate within its VLAN, that information actually tagged. It's tagged saying this is within VLAN 1, so it will go to the systems within its VLAN. Now, one issue that I don't know that the exam will actually get into, I don't know if it gets this deep, but VLANs don't necessarily provide the best security. Now, they do provide security in that you're doing the segmentation and you're able to apply different security policies, but there is ways that hackers can hop VLANs, and there's been some exploits that's been carried out to do that. So if you think about it, when we're talking about software's usually has some type of flaws, some way of busting out of the constraint. So there is VLAN hopping, which can be done where some systems can communicate to other systems that they're not supposed to. But again, I'm not sure that the CISSP is actually going to get into the VLAN hopping. But it's important that you know, especially if you're administrating this type of environment, that you understand VLAN hopping and how to prevent it.